Are you spending too much time worrying about the result of your performance? Is this worry leading to stress, fear, timid play, and self-doubt when you perform? If that's the case, then we need to take our attention off of the result and we need to put it somewhere else. And the way that we're going to do this is by giving you something else that is important to you during games. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. I talk to a lot of athletes about the difference between having the result of the game being the most important to you versus having the process of the game, or better said, something controllable, be the most important thing for you. And so I was talking to an athlete earlier this morning about this very idea, and I was asking him what it means for something to be important to us. And he was then explaining to me, that if something's important to us, it matters to us, we think about it a lot, we focus on it, we try to make sure that we do it. So if the score or the result of your performance, right, the outcome, is the most important thing to you about your game, then you'll be giving more attention to it, you'll be giving more focus to it, you'll think about it more, and you'll try to make it happen. Now that sounds great, right? Because the truth is, the score and the result is important. You won't win a game or win a tournament or reach the next level if you don't get good outcomes. But the problem is that if it is the most important thing to you when you perform, this can actually lead to a lot of mental game challenges. So this one athlete that I was talking to this morning, he struggles a lot with managing his emotions after he makes mistakes. If things aren't going his way during the game, he ends up getting upset, he gets frustrated, he loses his composure. This is because the result is the most important thing to him. And so if he doesn't seem like he will get the result that he wants because he's underperforming or because he makes a mistake, then he ends up getting really upset. There was another athlete that I was talking to today, and he and I were going over, the stress that he's feeling for his upcoming game because of the pressure that he's putting on himself to get a lot of points and to have a successful game. Because the result of the performance, so in his case, getting a lot of points, is the most important thing to him, he's then feeling more stress about the game. When we spend so much time thinking about the result and the outcome of the performance, this is where we are, creating this sense of pressure and stress within ourselves about how we will go out there and perform. Now again, this doesn't necessarily mean it is a bad thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that because you think more about the result, that's going to make you perform worse. Every athlete is different, and truth be told, I do believe that it is better to focus on the process, but I have had athletes who they say the result of their performance is the most important thing to them, and they end up performing better. But you have to really honestly look at what type of thinking are you having because you're so concerned with the result, right? And so again, if the result of the performance is the most important thing to us, this is where we will have the tendency to get more upset over mistakes, feel more fear about what the result will be, worry about that result, which leads to anxiety. And then that fear and anxiety, that pressure, that stress, that will actually change the way you play, and it can cause you to play with more tension, it can cause you to play scared, hold yourself back, and all in all, it can cause you to underperform and then not get the result that you want. In the same way as if you're getting too upset and losing your composure, that won't help you get the result you want either. So if you're currently struggling with focusing so much on the result and then you find yourself underperforming because of that, then we need to make something else the most important thing to you about your game. And so what will that something else be? Well, simply put, it's going to be the process or something that's in your control. But beyond that, what it ends up being specifically will vary from player to player. The athlete that I was talking to this morning, who I was mentioning earlier, he and I were talking about how his attitude needs to be the most important thing to him. Because when he's performing poorly, he's a golfer, so when he's performing poorly, it's due to him getting so frustrated over something that happened. Right? Let's say he hit a bad shot, or he got, double bogey, or he shot double bogey on a hole. Then he gets so upset because now the result won't be what he wants it to be. The score won't be what he wants it to be. So it's not necessarily the bad shot, it's the fact that he's getting upset because then his performance moving forward in the round suffers. So if he was able to just respond in a more positive way, and he has been able to do that in the past, if he's able to just respond in a positive way, he doesn't see his performance drop as much. So when we were examining his performances, we figured out that his attitude, his ability to respond to frustrations and to mistakes is the most important thing that leads to the score that he wants. Now, of course, his performance plays into that and his physical shots play into that, but he's a really good golfer. He has the physical talent. So when it comes to an actual round of golf or a tournament, most importantly, the thing that matters the most to him is being sure that his attitude is what he needs his attitude to be. For other athletes, we've talked about making their thinking the most important thing, making the effort that they give the most important thing to them. But when we start to make controllables the most important things to us when it comes to performing, whether it's a game or a tournament, whatever it ends up being, when those controllables become the most important, we will end up performing better more consistently. Because again, what does it mean for something to be important to us? It means we put our attention on that. And there hasn't been an athlete that I've worked with who has put more attention onto the process, been more present when they compete, not worried about the result as much, and then they've underperformed. More often than not, right, when we're focusing on the process, we're going to see performance increase. But we definitely won't see performance decrease because now all of a sudden we're giving more attention to the present moment in the process, because the present moment in the process is what leads to the result that we want. So when we start to make that more important, we start to get those results we want without having to focus and fixate on those results and the outcomes so much, which then tends to lead to anxiety, perfectionism, fear, self-doubt, and everything else, right? So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to shift our attention off of the result and more onto the process and what's in your control. So for yourself, the way you can take this idea and apply it to your game is that you want to make a list of all the things that are 100% within your control when it comes to competing. Now you could just simply say, all right, well, I want to make the process of my game and I want to make these controllables the most important thing to me, and that's perfectly fine. Or you could get more detailed than that, like I did with the athlete that I was talking to earlier. He and I pinpointed that his attitude above anything else is the most important thing to him when he competes. So for yourself, do you want to make just a broad list and say you want to work on making the process itself more important? Or do you want to pinpoint something specific and say your attitude, your thinking, your effort, the follow through you have on every shot? What is the most important thing to you when it comes to competing? But the bottom line here is that when we are spending most of our time thinking about the score, the result, the outcome of our performance, we are not giving attention to what will lead to that result. When we make this shift and we make the process and the controllable parts of our game the most important thing to us, we're going to see those results become more of what we want on a more consistent basis. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching or any of the sports psychology programs I have available, I've put links to those in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.